远看山有色，近听水无声。春去花还在，人来鸟不惊。Hey guys, welcome to Learn Chinese Now. I am your host Jared Madsen, and today we have a Tang Dynasty poem from the great poet Wang Wei. Now, this poem is called Hua, which means painting or the painting. So let's dive in. The first line is 5 characters long. All the lines are 5 characters long. There are 4 lines. So this is very typical for Tang Dynasty poetry. Of these 5 characters, the first 2 characters go together and the last 3 go together kind of conceptually. So we'll dive in and see what that looks like. So the first 2 characters of the first line are yuǎn kan. So yuǎn means far away, distant. Kan means to look. So yuǎn kan means to look at something from a distance. So to be far away and to look at something. The last 3 characters of the first line are shān有色. Shān means mountain or mountains. You means to have. And se means color. So 山有色, the mountains have color. So this first line is not too difficult to understand. 远看山有色. Looking from afar, the mountains have color, right? Or probably a lot of green or something like that. We can only imagine what he means. So the first 2 characters of the second line are 近听. 近 means close proximity. 听 means to listen. All right, so let's take a step back and look at the first 2 characters of the first line, 远看, and then the first 2 characters of the second line, 近听. So you see the similarities here. Yuan, far away, of the first line. Jin, it matches with Jin, close up. Kan, to look. Ting, to listen. Okay, so this is interesting. So this isn't by accident. The first 2 characters of the first line, far away, look. The first 2 characters of the second line, close up, listen. So let's take a look at the last 3 characters of the second line. Shuǐ, wu, shēng. Shuǐ means water, so in this case it could be a pond or a lake or a river. Wu means without, to not have. Shēng means sound. 水无声. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. The water has no sound, right? So one would probably think, what kind of water doesn't have sound? Well, maybe a still lake, a pond, maybe. Let's mental note that. We'll come back to that later. So the whole line of the second line is 近听水无声. When you listen closely, the water has no sound. So we can match up the last 3 characters of the first and the second line. So 山有色, those are the last 3 of the first line, mountain has color. And the last 3 of the second line, 水无声, the water does not have sound. So you can see they match up nicely. Mountain, water. Have, not have, color, sound, right? And so we have so those first 2 lines, 远看山有色, 近听水无声, right? These 2 are not only describing what we're seeing, they are also, there's a lot of opposites, a lot of balances between them. That's where the really interesting side of Tang Dynasty poetry comes into play. Now let's look at the last 2 lines. The first 2 characters of the third line are 春去. 春 means spring, as in one of the seasons, and 去 means to leave, to go away. So 春去simply means spring has gone away, right? It's now summer or fall or winter, something like that. Spring has gone away. 花还在, right? So those are the next 3 characters. 花, flower, 还, still, 在, here. 花还在, the flowers are still here. Okay, so that's interesting. Spring is gone. 春去花还在. The flowers are still here. Spring is gone, the flowers are still here. That would make you wonder. When spring goes, the spring flowers usually die and gives way to the summer plants. But here he's saying spring has gone, the flowers are still here. All right, might want to mental note that as well. We'll come back to that. The very last line is 人来, right? The first 2 characters, 人来. People or person comes. So we can do the exact same thing as we did with the first two lines. We can match those up. So the first two characters of the third line were 春去, spring leaves, and then of the fourth line, 人来, people come. So you have spring and people, or a person, and then spring leaves, people come. So again, we're starting to see the yin and the yang, the opposites of those. The very last part of the entire poem is niǎo不惊. Niǎo, bird. 不, not. 惊 means to be scared or startled. So the birds are not startled. The birds are not scared off. 人来鸟不惊. People come, or somebody comes, and the bird is not scared off. Okay, so again, well, what does that mean? When people come, birds usually fly away. But in this instance, people come and the birds do not fly away. Okay, again, we're going to mentally note that. We'll come back to that. So the last three characters of the third line are 花还在. Flowers are still here. And the last three characters of the fourth line are 鸟不惊. The birds are not scared. So flowers and birds, okay, those match up. 还不. So 还, something that's still around, it's still here. 不 is no more. And 在, to be here. 惊, to be scared off. So let's go over the entire poem one last time and try and figure out this riddle. See what's going on with this poem. 远看山有色, 近听水无声. 春去花还在, 人来鸟不惊. Okay, so the translation is basically, from a distance, the mountains have color, but when you listen closely, the water has no sound. The spring has gone away, but the flowers are still here. When people come, the birds are not scared. What does this mean? What does all of this mean? Well, it feels like a riddle, and the answer is actually in the title of the poem. If we remember, the title of the poem is 画, painting. So this is him looking at a painting. Of course, when you look at a painting, the colors are very beautiful. When you listen closely, the water has no sound. Where you're standing, it might be summer, it might be fall, it might be winter. But so spring has gone, but the flowers are still there. The flowers are still there in the painting. And you come to look at the painting, 人来, a person comes to look at the painting, but the birds don't fly away. Well, of course not, they're in a painting. So this is Wang Wei. He was actually a Buddhist, and there was much depth to his poetry. He liked to do riddles, he liked to do all types of things. And I'm wondering, are there deeper meanings to this poem? If you think you've found any deeper meanings to this poem, please leave that in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next week. 再见.